Debuted 2 weeks ago and looked much stronger on his initial debut games than he did last weekend. And we'd like to see a clean performance from him today against Giants, another team that's struggling. I wanted to pick some bans. 6.3 Nidalee out.
No surprise, we'll be banned almost all the time.
You said top tier jungler right now?
Definitely the S tier jungler in the pool, and then it opens up for a ton of different jungle picks after. You know, Thresh was hyping up the Gragas. We've seen it twice because there's been quite some jungle bans. This is another game. Kindred was one of them. Elise, Rek'Sai, Lucian. You know, there's so many different ones that are doing well. It just depends on what you need in your team comp. We've even seen Rumble jungle.
I love it.
You know,
I love it.
You can get a bit of everything. Graves, even though he got nerfed, is still a viable jungle pick, and even for top lane.
All right, rounding out Unicorn's bans. Nidalee, Rumble, Alistar. Kog'Maw is still available.
A Rumble jungle ban.
I thought it would be.
Against BetongJocke.
That's him. He's not really been going that route, playing primarily tanks. He's got 2 Fiora games in there, but Shin, Maokai, Malphite on the other side. Let's take a look. First pick, Kog'Maw. Does Steelback want it? The man in the feature. The man that is shining at the moment.
Definitely an option. What we would see normally would then be a Lucian first pick because Kalista is banned. So it purely depends on how high does your team value the other AD carries. And Lucian, for many, are still the go-to guy when Kalista is banned.
And double duty. Lulu's off the table. So if you give Adryh Kog'Maw and you have a more coordinated, better communicating team that is performing on the stage, in theory, you have the tools to shut Kog'Maw down. Now that is a statement.
I agree with you, because I feel like this is a lot like when Ryze was this super broken pick that we felt like had to be banned in every game, because he could go crazy. Like, he could stand in a team fight and just kill everyone. But it took time for him to get there, and we often saw teams kind of trap everyone else, or trap the other team and go like, oh, we're going to leave it open. So if you don't take it now in your first rotation on blue side, oh, we might grab it, you know. It's obviously not going to be the case here for Unicorns, but teams figure out counters, and they also start figuring out that other teams don't get enough practice on specific top-tier picks, and then they start leaving them open and play against them instead. And we can see it's not picked. Giants obviously doesn't have to take it in the first rotation. Alistar being banned bumps up Braum's value in Europe, widely regarded as the second best support. And the Gragas again, because we're seeing 1, 2, 3 jungle bans in this game, and it just opens up for him to be a contested pick.
Rek'Sai still available for Rudy, which he's played several times. Twice, in fact, 2 Kindred, 1 Kindred and Elise. Elise available as well.
Oh, Giants giving up Corki here. Because that can be locked in for mid lane for Unicorns a lot. I would like to see that.
The Dusk Blade of Drakthar on Zed on Fox. Do it!
Just go Corki. If you want to take that away, like, Giants actually can build a poke composition because they have very, very good options through support and jungle picks. You got disengage, frontline from both of them. Very strong peel from both Gragas and Braum. So I wouldn't mind seeing a poke composition for Giants. Long range also does really well against VIktor because he can then struggle to do his full combo. Obviously, he can wave clear really well.
And Adryh's got a history of playing Ezreal. They wanted to go that route.
You can go for that route. You can take the Corki here if you want to. Or you can even save that for your last pick if you want to take your AD carry. And your top lane pick, Lissandra, is on the board if you want the flex pick, but that obviously would go a little bit against the poke composition. Giants, in my opinion, are at least giving them the option to build with having these 2 first picks with Braum and Gragas.
It's a difficult comp to pull off. Going to go with a little bit of poke. It's likely going to see that Lux in the mid lane for Pepi and Kog'Maw locked in for Adryh.
But this is enough for me. I mean, this is like poke siege really coming in. You have an AD carry now. If he gets 2 or 3 seconds at your tower, he almost kills the tower.
Okay.
You then have tons of zone. Loads of like CC that can disengage, or something you have to respect when you try and engage, like Lux binding or her E. Like, you have to respect that when trying diving Adryh in the backline. So I like what Giants are building, and I think it is a good siege, somewhat poke comp.
But you've got to get to the tower through a VIktor, which is going to be somewhat of a challenge. Poppy locked in with the Thresh hover. We're expecting that to go to Chachi. And with the Ryze nerfs on this patch, that was one of Chachi's go-to champions.
Yeah, he was one of the guys who would still pick it very early and play it in the top lane very often. Obviously gone, but Poppy's there, Fiora. There's a lot of great picks for Chachi on the top lane. He's been a big carry for Unicorns a lot. He needs to be it again. But to your point about how VIktor is going to block, you know, from sieging, Braum is really good into VIktor because if he's with the minion wave when he gets to the tower, he can block the laser with his shield. So he stops that wave there from happening. That allows Adryh then to get a few seconds on the tower. So Giants are basically building a siege comp in so many ways. And if Unicorns of Love get to that point where they are pushed back on the map, then the Braum shield can block the wave clear, and suddenly Giants can start getting damage on towers.
So let's see how coordinated Giants are when they get in game. Got to decide on one more pick. As we mentioned, Atom has somewhat been favoring some of those tanks in terms of performance, but for both squads, a lot of sort of situational engage. Flanking from Poppy, Cocoon, Death Sentence. No real super hard go button.
I mean, this is just enable Adryh with everything. Oh, you're going to have a full tank Poppy running at our AD carry. Here's a Trundle ulti. So let's reduce some of those stats. Let's provide a slow at the same time so our AD carry can literally solo carry this game. So Giants are just setting up for Adryh to be a massive carry. Coming in, they have strong siege. They have a fine split pusher in the Trundle who does well 1v1. Typically into melee matchups with his Q damage, stealing away some stats and everything what Trundle can provide. So I think Giants have some cool options, but it requires them to play correctly, and that's always the concern when we look at some of the bottom teams in Europe. Where Unicorns of Love is very good all around. Like, you have a strong team fight, you have wave clear, you have super strong laning phase with Lucian, Thresh, Poppy's good in the lane, you have early game jungler in Elise. This is like a bread and butter comp for Unicorns. Yeah, you got everything.
Got a little bit of everything. All the tools you need to close the game out against the 1-9 Giants. For Giants, let's see how coordinated they are. Let's see how well they use that Lux. How the split pushing Trundle and teleports will play out. There's your two team comps on screen. Hashtag UOL win. Will they pick up their 8th win of the spring split? Or hashtag GIA win. Will Giants be the second team to take a victory off a top 6 squad? The odds are stacked against them. Jump onto Twitter and let us know who you think will be victorious as we load up onto the Rift. We are on 6.3, and Deficio, it's very early in the game, but I want to throw some numbers at you.
Yeah, we're like 20 seconds in.
Oh yeah, but I want to get this out now.
Tell me.
This comp from Giants is built around Adryh. Adryh is currently the 3rd worst farming AD carry at 10 minutes, the worst farming AD carry at 20 minutes in CS.
Okay.
He has the 7th lowest damage share rank of AD carries and the 9th lowest gold share rank. And this is a complete 180 for Giants. They're now putting all of their eggs in the Captain Surprise Kog'Maw basket.
So, you basically say, Adryh, we don't think you're going to get enough gold if you sit in a standard 2v2 lane. We can swap. We can start trading towers, because you are very good at taking down these towers here. A lot of attack speed, a lot of extra attacks coming in. And we just go and basically trade 2 or 3 towers in the early game. We bump up that gold on this AD carry, get the Rage Blade very quickly, like we saw Taps get in the last game, where Spice decided to actually trade towers quite a lot, which I think is a wrong approach. Unicorns are swapping here because they're expecting Giants to swap. They're basically saying, okay, we're going to find you up here and get a 2v2. Giants are staying bot lane and just saying, we are not going to risk anything. And it actually ends up being bad now for Unicorns. They swap to top.
So is this a mistake from UOL? Not trying to get deep vision, not trying to maybe force the hand? Or is this expecting a simple swap and then just simply, you know, maybe outsmarting yourself in some ways?
So it's a bit of both, honestly, because it's very tricky even getting deep vision now, because you have to move to lane so quickly with how fast the minion wave is spawning. So if you like invade in on top side and place 4 wards, Giants might still just stay on the bottom side, or they could have hit on the tower like Unicorns of Love have already done before. So you can never 100% guarantee what's going to happen unless you start sitting in your mid lane and wait to send your dual lane around. I do think, however, it would be smart for him to get the deep vision to at least give them a chance to spot where Giants are going. Because I really think Giants are going to be happy with this, at least for the start of the game. They also get to start on the weak side and do both Crooks and Red buff, because Unicorns are doing the same.
GODFRED's going to find both Rudy and Chachi in the jungle, catch a glimpse of the timing, feed that information to the rest of Giants, and as far as the tempo is concerned, it's all about UOL. Adryh's about to get to the tower, but UOL have been hammering that top lane for a while.
Yeah, Adryh's building up the wave and getting 2 or 3 minion waves together, where Unicorn's instant push. So the timing they're looking for is that second wave coming to actually get to the tower before the last minion dies, so he just switches over to that wave and you can stay and hit the tower. They were about a second off, because that wave didn't hit in time, so now they just had to like wait a little bit of time. Wave is here now, they can push it in. So they're trying to go for a really, really quick push on the tower, and they are ahead of Giants right now. So I like what they're doing, pushing it in so early, and it was close to perfect with the timing on the second wave.
All right, so next question for UOL. If you get the tower on this next minion wave, where do you go next, and how do Giants respond?
Well, at this point, you will always swap down bot side. Unless you are so far ahead in the push, you can actually go for second tier 2 tower top. If I send your jungler up there and you 4-man that tower, it is very tricky to do because you have to be really far ahead in tempo. So Unicorns should just swap down to bottom side now with Hylissang and Steelback. And obviously Giants should do exactly the same with their dual lane to swap them top.
And that seems to be the case. Adryh's already back. Wow, Fox eats point blank light binding. A lot of damage from PePii. He's done Ghost Flash, even connects with the Lucian Singularity.
And this is actually a matchup a lot of mid laners like, locks into VIktor.
Tell me why.
Because you can outrange him very, very easily. In order for him to get close and land Q twice, basically like Q then auto attack from him, he needs to walk through bindings, through your E as well. So it's very difficult for VIktor to get in range to do his full combo against Lux. He can only do laser, basically, where Lux can do everything against him. So it's a good matchup for Lux in lane. And we might see xPePii get even further ahead and just pressure VIktor over and over in the laning phase.
And that's good for PePii, who's not been the same xPePii that we saw last year. Really struggling to find an impact. I distinctly remember last year he would flash over walls on Xerath to chase kills. And he's not been in a position to do that this year. So 10 CS up is a good sign for Giants. They've farmed a 400 gold advantage. Mostly, actually, in PePii's pockets. And it looks like the tower trade game is on. So UOL saying, look, Adryh, get to your Rage Blade. We still don't really think it's going to be worrying, or there's no optimal way to counter it.
I think Unicorns here can go for 2 towers bot. But they have to send Rudy and Vizicsacsi straight to that bot lane. And they're not doing that. So they were actually really far ahead in that push on the tier 1 bot tower. Had to send down jungle and top laner instant. There have been 4-man pushing and killing this already. And push up for next tower. That's one of the plays you can make, but you gotta instant see it. Like you see now they're moving over with both members. It's too late to go for that trade. I like to see that though from teams. Because worst case, because you are ahead, you just push your wave into enemy tower and it resets. Because it dies then at the tier 2 tower and resets. And obviously you will lose a bit of farm on your top laner. But
it's worth the risk, right?
It's a decision.
If you get some timing, deny the CS to your opponents.
It's a decision you gotta make. If you have 4-man around it, and you were, in this case, actually pretty far ahead for Unicorns, Giants make up for it because they send up their jungler to join the team and take down tower.
So, Deficio, I see a number of pink wards in the inventory already. 4 of them, in fact. 2 of them already down inside Giants' jungle. Placed quite deep, actually, from UOL. So we'll see how efficient and how long those last. If nothing else, it'll give some information on BetongJocke, how close he is to 6, and which lane he's going to impact next.
Yeah, and due to these pink wards, it does give Unicorns a few options to set up a potential trap. Adam is getting nothing here. He's not getting any farm because instantly he gets zoned away by Rudy. And of course by Hylissang. So they're trying to target the split pushing Trundle, who will be a pain to deal with later on. Keep him down for as long as possible. Chachi's all alone on bottom side, they're pushing all the way up. This should actually not be an option for him to do. He's getting a lot of solo farm, and Giants are now trying to help Adam instead of mirroring what Unicorns are doing and trying to punish Chachi. But because they are reacting later, because they are behind in the play, behind in tempo, they never get the same output from it all. They just end up losing more. It's better to just mirror what the other team is doing in this case and just deny Chachi what he's getting.
Stay even for longer.
Just have your supports at top side now. Let BetongJocke be the guy denying Chachi. Obviously, this is now 30 seconds ago. It's not relevant anymore, and now they're just here to defend.
Especially when you consider that Trundle, Kog'Maw, even Lux to a certain degree, really wants to get a few items under the belt, some levels. BetongJocke's got the Amp Tome, So he might be the first Gragas of the day to go Runic Echoes, where we've seen Cinderhulk in both previous games. And Gragas currently 3 for 3. Deficio, you're going to cop out and say it's only because of all the jungle bans.
I mean, it's part of it, right? He is a good pick. Never denied that. He's definitely a good pick right now. He fits in if you want, you know, a tanky jungler now who offers some disengage with some of these protected carries comps. This is something you can do when you have the deep wards. You can start invading into the enemy jungle and set up traps.
2-on-1. Teleport's available from Atom. It's been started. Adryh still trying to run away, flapping those butterfly wings.
He's a level 4 Trundle.
Hey, the pillar counts and Chachi. Minion taxis away. So summon a heal and teleport for literally just punishing Adryh being a bit too deep in that lane.
Adam could easily have just canceled his recall. You use the recall to kind of force Unicorns to disengage and not chase further. As soon as that happens, Adryh is safe. You cancel recall, or cancel your teleport, and you pick up all this sweet farm up on top side. He actually lost like 7 minions, I think, by TPing down bots.
And that's a big deal because he's down already. Lucian Singularity picks up blue buff by xPePii as Unicorns, despite not securing the kill, they got summoners, they get a blue buff. They've got themselves set up for Dragon if they want to, but there's no priority on that objective just yet.
And now the way to play for Unicorns is just constantly move Vizicsacsi to the lane where the wave is pushing to him, so he can just keep farming and farming and farming. And then you use Steelback and Hylissang to create a winning side lane. So whatever lane they're pushing up, that's the one you play around, and the jungle next to that lane is the one you take and basically ward, de-ward from Giants, and you place your own pink wards, and that's where you start setting up traps. Because Hylissang and Steelback 2v2 are going to be stronger than Giants bottom lane. Let them push it up, have jungle nearby, teleport ready for Chachi, nothing for Adam. Like, there's so many ways for Unicorns now to play around Steelback and Hylissang and pressure the tier 2 towers of Giants, or even pressure a dive on xPePii in mid lane, because you control the jungle on bot side. So that has to be the play now for Unicorns.
Especially because that's the only outer turret remaining. All that juicy gold available for UOL. Still 20 CS advantage here for xPePii. Looks like he's going towards the Morellonomicon. First item, Giant's going to start off Dragon. They've still got a minor gold lead. Hylissang is actually hanging around, winds up the death sentence, latched onto BetongJocke, I think, on the Dragon, so no attempt to steal. And actually interesting to see Adryh not finishing the Rage Blade first, putting the money into the Swifties. A little more expensive on 6-3. Just delaying that power spike a little, but I guess if you've got a dodge, cocoon, stun, death sentence, maybe.
I mean, we have long lanes at this point. Mobility is very key for him. Didn't get to see how much gold he had when he actually went back to base for himself.
Yeah, that can also factor.
Probably the biggest one for him. But it's not the end of the world, because again, you have all the outer turrets gone in side lanes where he's farming. So extra mobility is very key.
And those early tower trades always slow the game down. Atom has already used Subjugate. Puts down the Pillar of Ice, which is a gigantic traffic cone. And Chachi walks away. There was really no threat. The problem is, Chachi's stuck around long enough that Giants are going to collapse.
Why is Unicorns right now freezing bot lane with Lucian and Thresh? You have a super strong 2v2. Let's see top Adam here.
Adam's actually losing this fight. Keeper's Verdict was used. The rest of Giants, they're undecided.
Why are you freezing bot lane?
I don't know, Deficio. Why are they doing it?
There's zero value, in my opinion, from Unicorns freezing bot lane. They're giving Giants time to give Adryh more gold, to get into his Rage Blade, give a Rift Hello, they're not going to contest it. They're actually also allowing Adam to push further out on top lane, because his team is around the top side of the map, so he can now get more farm than he was supposed to get. Unicorn should have had full control of the jungle. Rudy's recalling in now, already 30 seconds ago. So that Adryh was sitting on the tower farming, and there was a risk of xPePii getting dove in mid lane over and over by jungler moving in, support moving in. Instead, they're actually allowing Giants to make an aggressive play.
So
super surprising.
Mistakes for UOL. How effective does Giants use the time? When Rocket did a similar play in the previous game, they got their Kog'Maw farmed enough to win. Now, admittedly, he had Soraka heals. This time around, GODFRED's got to position perfectly. He has to deny so much damage with the Unbreakable.
Man, there's not a bad back timing for Adryh. Not his fault, obviously, but just super annoying for him. Because the first one, he didn't have enough gold to buy the Rage Blade, so he went Swiftness. Okay, not the end of the world. Long lanes, extra mobility, you take it. Now he goes back again. Only had like 600 gold, I think. Bought a dagger. So he's delaying his first item quite a bit, but he's not looking to fight at this point. And because Unicorns now actually pushed the wave, but never contested the wave here on bot side and walked into the jungle, they're just kind of force-feeding him now. Like, here's minions. Come. Here's some free minions. Oh, you're safe down there. We're not going to pressure you. Just farm. Just take more minions. That's the way Unicorns could make aggressive plays on the map to speed up the game, was by playing around Steelback and Hylissang.
But they didn't.
And they've been doing the opposite.
Right. So
actually, they've not been playing around anyone.
No. Farm alarm. Just try to get your CS as high as possible. We've not actually talked a lot about Chachi and Atom, despite the fact that they have been trading and going toe-to-toe. That whole previous Rift Herald engage was Atom starting the fight, then Chachi engaged and ended up winning. But Chachi's got a 15 CS lead. Got the Shein and Swifties versus the Iceborne Gauntlet. Does Trundle ever get to a point where he can overtake Poppy, or is it purely on playing around that ultimate subjugate?
I mean, normally what Trundle does really well in 1v1s is he can out-sustain you. He takes away your stats. He often has a lot of lifesteal, so you can't really kill him 1v1. That point is going to happen for Chachi, where he won't be able to kill Adam 1v1. But then the point for Chachi is not trying to kill him. Yeah. That's obviously joining his team for fights and diving the back line. Unicorns now are making that play we talked about a few minutes ago. They're just not really committing to it. Because look at how Giants have been able to set up defensive wards. They've had plenty of time to talk as a team. What's the next play Unicorns can do? What is it we want to avoid? We don't want to lose our jungle. Okay, defensive wards. Clear out whatever they have. Stay around Adryh so he can farm. And he's just been sitting here now for a while, getting free CS. Adam is getting to catch up a little bit, or at least stay even. Because he fell behind due to the teleport and due to them being slower, taking down towers. He lost a bit of farm in the lane swap.
He's only down 300 gold.
So, I mean, Giants really were in a bad situation or bad spot. But because Unicorns have been playing so passive, Giants didn't get punished.
Yeah. And Giants are going to be happy. They've still got a marginal gold lead. Not that that really matters, how small it is. And they've got a lot of headroom on their team composition. There's still a lot of room to grow. And I actually feel for both of these teams, they've got comfort knowing they're not under a time limit. You know, they don't have to win before a certain time or a certain way. But the next question is, oh, is that stolen?
Yeah.
Wow.
4 HP.
And was it blind too? I think that was blind.
There was a pink ward on it, so yeah, he definitely couldn't see anything.
That is what Sinai would call a oopsie.
Good for Pepi. Stealing that blue buff. And making it even worse for Unicorns, because they wanted to use that blue buff to constantly push in mid tower or mid lane over and over. Now they have to worry about mana issues. Not the greatest for VIktor also. He lost a lot of mana on his personal item. The Hex Core. Just had to check the name again. I was like, what's it called again?
That's a while ago, I believe, but still counts.
Still counts, you know.
Still counts. So, 15 minutes in, this drawn-out laning phase is slowly building to a tempo. 5 seconds on Dragon. Adryh has completed that Rage Blade, also picked up the Brawler's Gloves, but his opposite number, Essence Reaver, first item. So, a little bit more burst up front for Steelback. He can get it down. Adryh looking to hammer home his on attack. Dragon number 1 to UOL. No contest from Giants.
And this is Giants basically saying, we don't need to fight, because they're letting us farm on the map. We have the first Dragon. So we're not really in a situation where we want to commit fully for a Dragon fight. We don't see that very often, and that's why they're just backing away from it. Adam is getting farmed top lane. Adryh has a wave up, pushing up to him bot lane, and Pepi can wave clear mid. So Giants were in a fine situation, giving up that Dragon. Something we haven't always seen them do. So that is an improvement, definitely. Not just blindly walking into that fight.
Good challenge, yeah.
Now you gotta use your ulti from Pepi, which he doesn't have ready because he stole that blue buff.
Well, it'll be available very, very soon. Hylissang walking around, gets caught by that body slam. BetongJocke knocks him backwards. And Light Binding secures first blood. Prismatic Barrier will give a shield to Atom as GODFRED has got the Unbreakable Will. Defensive flash over the Poppy knockback. Still alive and gets away with his life. Culling has already been used. Giants got the kill advantage. Look at Pepi's positioning. Yes, Light Binding finds nobody. Ulti may be used just to clear this wave out, but I think UOL get a lot of damage onto the tower. It's down to half hit points. Pepi still holding on to the laser.
Oh! Close in the end. Not sure if Chachi had his W pop for a few extra tanky stats coming in.
That was close. And xPePii is actually sitting at 2,600 gold. And I know some of that was from first blood, obviously, but no additional AP. Here's that replay, Deficio.
Yeah, so replay, I like the play from Giants because Unicorns are a little bit split up here. They go for the engage, they pick up one target. It's what you can do when you run Lux, especially. Go for one guy, burst him down. No ulti from xPePii though, he's saving it, as you said. Waiting. I want to see Chachi. W is active.
It is. Yep. 11 HP. 11
just
hit points.
Stays alive. Got a few extra magic resist points.
Well, that won't happen next time because Luden's Echo has now been completed as xPePii's got their 30 CS advantage, has got first blood under his belt. And will be firing out those lasers for days. It's a 41-second cooldown at the moment at rank 2. I believe it goes down to about 28 seconds at max rank, max CDR.
Yeah, very low. Actually, I'm just realizing the W from Chachi didn't do anything. Yeah, he needs to be a little lower there. Like, popping the W just gave him the movement speed in this case, so it didn't...
It's alright, we'll forgive him.
Matter that much more?
Yeah.
But, you know, it looked cool, right?
Rift Herald picked up by the Unicorns of Love. Take it back, Giants, sorry. Of course, Adryh getting the kill credit. I think he picked it up. We've seen both Kog'Maw games. The other guys that are giving it. Fox is in so much trouble. Will flash over the wall. Has used cleanse. Rudy with a very good cocoon onto Atom. The fight has been split, and Atom, you don't have MR. He will survive for a few seconds longer as Subjugate gives him the stats and the health. Defensive flash from Rudy, and UOL, they were caught way out of position. It's not done yet. Adryh's been pinned against the wall. The cocoon finds him as well. Steelback looking for the passive shot, finds it. Adryh is down. The damage is out for Giants, and just like that, Unicorns of Love turn it back around. A double for Steelback.
Another situation, though, where Unicorns are somewhat disrespecting Giants, walking in to steal that blue buff. VIktor gets caught out, flash body slam from BetongJocke. Good engage at first, and he does go down. But then the re-engage from Unicorns happen. Again, they are supposed to be stronger at this point in the game. Steelback can take down people. Chachi on a Poppy in the mid-game is already very, very tanky and actually has very good base damage. The Unicorns finally get a fight, but it's not been on their terms. It's not been Unicorns forcing anything in this game. This is again them going for blue buff, getting caught out, because you have this Lux Gragas comp where you body slam onto one guy, then you try to land the binding and you just nuke them down. A little bit extra damage is enough. Very farmed already for xPePii, Luden, Zekro, Morel, Nomicon on the Lux. We still get to see what a Poppy can do. And yes, she got nerfed a little bit on 6.3, but so he's super, super strong. So
Adryh stuns and Rudy threads the needle there. Adryh was just chain CC.
And then BetongJocke goes down in the end after the fight is already lost. You need the protection for Adryh. He can't really move a lot himself. You want to stand still to do the perfect amount of damage for him.
But you don't want to stand still.
You don't want to stand next to the wall when Poppy then flies in. And like the disengage from Giants is mainly built around GODFRED and BetongJocke, but if they use it aggressive to set up the pick, it's obviously not there to save Adryh after.
And of course, if you step back and you look at that lane, freezing lane from Steelback and Hilly, Steelback's got a 40 CS advantage. Chachi has been performing incredibly well. And the reason I say that is the follow-up. If UOL are confident they can get to Adryh in mid-game team fights,
I just think it's
take
risky.
No risks.
I think it's risky saying as a team, oh, it's fine. Yeah, we can let him scale up a little bit because Adryh walked up top side and he got a few minion waves, and then he just took the wave when it came to him on bottom side, and he froze it and caught up a bit in CS. So I think it's a risk to take. If you have options to play very proactive,
you should.
And try and force mistakes from the enemy team. Force that mid tower, threaten their dive on xPePii. Freezing waves is not something we're gonna see very often, unless you really want to scale up and you feel like you can defend the other lanes while you're freezing.
So, Unicorns opted into that strategy. 22 minutes in, Deficio. We've hit some item thresholds. Steelback has gone static Shiv plus Essence Reaver. We'll expand on the rest in a second, but BetongJocke is not super tanky because he's a Runic Echoes Gragas, and he just gets taken down. 4 members of UOL easily drop him. Culling, as well as that Chaos Storm has been used. Dragon is available, as is a bottom inner turret, and UOL are rotating around. Very good pillar from Atom. The minion wave is making its way out.
And a bit like the first game of the day, where we had Elements playing against Origin. I felt like we had Origin making some mistakes in the early game that got punished by Elements, and they were in a position to do really well. Giants were in the same position against Unicorns. But then you start getting caught out a little bit. Now here BetongJocke got caught, now tower goes down, and these mistakes start happening that can't really happen. No. And that's why despite you doing well at first, you then still end up losing more and more once you start hitting that mid game, and all the teams on the bottom of the stand, they all talk about the same. The shot calling is an issue once we get out of the early game.
Yeah.
You know, when do we take the correct fight? Where do we place our wards? Which lane do we need to push now? What can the other team do if we make this play? And then they start getting caught out, and things like this happen. You die, you give up a tower, and now Unicorns are 2,000 gold ahead.
Yep. Accelerated quite confidently. Chachi used his Keeper's Verdict to zone away Giants, one of the best zoning ultimates in the game, and Unicorns got 4 pink wards in their inventory. Let's see where they opt to use them, because the inner turrets remaining is in middle and top, and if pink wards are set up, it also doubles, not only for those towers, but for Baron.
This is the point where you want to have 2 pink wards at least in river, near the Baron, so one in the bush here that Chachi just placed it, one at the Baron. I think you can put one in mid lane as well to deny a potential TP flank, but you're not really too afraid of a Trundle though in this case, so you don't need it. But you want to have the rest for the enemy jungle on top side, because when it's mid tower and top tower left, that's the jungle you want to focus. And obviously you want to deny any vision for Giants, so they cannot flash, body slam, engage, and like pick one of you off. Take an open 5-on-5 team fight without being in the late game yet, and you're going to be fine as the Unicorns are locked.
Unicorns are big hit to the Steelback as the final spark will find him. GODFRED throws out the chair, but it doesn't matter because good positioning from Hylissang saves Fox or any threat on Fox. A lot of damage for Pepi. Luden's Echo, Marilla Nomicon, blasting one Amp Tone. And BetongJocke only now starting to get tanky. He went Runic Echoes on that Gragas, which I saw in Challenger a lot, but earlier today we saw Cinderhole.
So this is one of my concerns with Gragas coming in. When you go for the AP route in the start, it is fantastic for some extra damage for your jungle clear. That's the big one for him. Like, he can clear the jungle so effectively. It does, however, mean if you start falling behind, your first tank item gets delayed quite a bit. And yes, you get some HP from Strength of Ages, but that's not really enough against VIktor, Lucian at this point here. So once he is behind, he's just in the front line. Yes, he will take some of your damage, but he will also go down very quickly. And that's one of the risks when you build this way. Like, you have to farm well, get your tank items, and then start team fighting.
Flash for flash. Chachi was looking for Pepi. Doesn't find him. Pepi, though, has Distortion, so technically, he'll come away with a sooner flash. However, if a team fight breaks out the next couple of minutes, Unicorns of Love will be able to target him much easier.
We got the Hydra completed for Adam now. Gonna talk about it just before, how he needs that. He needs to be a threat in split pushing. He needs to wave clear. That's one of the most important things for him, and how fast he can push the lane. But also you need some damage to take down this puppy if you ever have that 1v1. Otherwise it's just wet noodle fight that never really ends.
Wow, these are significantly stronger noodles than our previous game with the Zarot portal.
How to counter Zarot portal? You just build one yourself.
There we go. That's it. You can have Zarot battles all day. Abyssal Scepters for Rudy and Fox. Pepi's got himself a Void Staff. How counter some of that MR? I think it's actually quite a clever build because there's a fair amount of MR being built up on Unicorns of Love side. But for UOL, they've placed some of those pink wards, but it's not super aggressive, it's not super deep.
They haven't committed to anything yet.
Well, they haven't committed to anything all game.
That's true. I mean, they had the 2 pink wards in River at Baron. Technically, Giants should never be allowed to go in and clear them out. Like, you should have that for the control on Baron, so you can always threaten rushing Baron. If you want to force a TP from Adryh, as an example, you can then go Baron and get him to TP in.
Look at the bottom lane.
This is what's going to happen bot lane, though. We talked about this earlier. Chachi hits a point where he cannot kill Adam. And because Adam now has his Hydra, he has enough damage to be a threat against Chachi. So this is why Unicorns are saying, okay, we don't want to sit and 1v1 all game long. We want to force something with our members in the mid lane, 4v4, and then have the TP from Chachi coming.
All right, GODFRED needs to be on the front line if he wants to push the tower. Not going to work, though. Chachi's got... He sidesteps the barrel. That was very, very good move. The rest of UOL trying to push forward. Atom gets caught by a death sentence the moment he arrives. Left for dead as the rest of Giants were backing away.
That was the perfect call for Unicorns of Love. Again, they don't want to sit in the 1v1 against Adam because he actually has damage now. That does mean he's sacrificing his own health when it comes to team fights. Trundle TPing in has very little value. As soon as he joins the fight, he gets popped. Tower is now open for Unicorns. They play that one perfectly. Chachi with a good move. And they extend the goal lead.
Yeah, and props to Hilly. Time and time again, he's playing on the back foot, he's playing defensively. Lantern is always there for an escape route, and never feel that UOL is at risk of being caught out when they're pushing this mid lane tower. BetongJocke will find Rudy, does not connect with the barrel roll. And Giants now looking to take a tower of their own. Fox is nearby, Chaos Storm will be available soon. Gravity Field out, and I think they should be able to hold this tower. GODFRED goes short though, and doesn't find a target. And look at BetongJocke, he's zoning away exactly as you mentioned.
GODFRED as well with the shield just in front of the minion wave. VIktor tries to laser, gets blocked, doesn't clear the wave, gives time for Adryh and xPePii to deal damage on towers. So this is basically what Giants wanted to do a lot earlier. Was difficult because Unicorns have now been winning some fights. And you also didn't want to risk walking too far up and get into an open team fight. But it is what you can do with this Braum pick. It's something that is very undervalued, I feel. Travel with minion waves and then block the wave clear so you get time for your team. Overall though, for Giants, they're still waiting basically to scale up. You're gonna get Blade of the Ruined King now. You can go for Steric's Gauge. There's a 4 fights in for Adryh or more Primordius if you want that. If you just want to become a bit of a little bit of an AD carry tank
to survive. Something to survive.
Yeah.
Tank's a strong word.
AD carry tank, whatever it is. Brewster thing. Yes, he wants to survive. He wants to close his eyes and just auto attack.
Shift right click. That's
nothing
it.
else.
Attack move is the aim of the game. Steelback's got himself the Mercurial Scimitar. So Fox, okay, decent-ish damage, but has got the MR from Abyssal, has got the HP from Rylai's, had the Death Sentence shield, the Lantern, rather, shield, not Death Sentence. Hang on for a second. And we're still just waiting. I mean, the vision game has been relatively weak, despite UOL having, again, 4 pink wards, but they're not committing them deep into Giants jungle. They're not committing to a lot of objectives.
And I'm not saying it's going to make Giants win the game, but it does give Giants more chances to actually create a comeback. Because you get more and more time for your carries. Unicorns are still in a great position to set up a Baron and force a team fight around it, and they should be able to win that team fight. I want to see them be active right now when you have such a strong base from the Poppy, from the VIktor with 3 items, and from Steelback, who's also just completed 3 items. Like, you want to fight right now.
Yeah, but what about the other side? For Giants, they're happy to scale. They're happy to look for a pick, maybe facilitated by BetongJocke or xPePii, Light Binding. They have some diffs engaged. They have wave clear. So for Giants, how do they retake control of this game?
You keep pink wards in your own jungle towards the Baron, so you have a clear path you can walk. And you know you don't face check anything on the way. You have blue trinkets, 2 of them right now for Giants. And then you basically wait for the mid, and you do not walk out like this.
Chachi has flashed forward into the stun. Cocoon is going to zone Adryh away. He started putting down the auto attacks, and UOL are flashing defensively. Atom Subjugate is making him tankier than maybe he needs to be. Steelback dashes forward aggressively, and Adryh actually stepped onto the gravity field. He gets stunned, but is able to flash away to safety. The culling doesn't find a target, and it's only GODFRED that goes down. xPePii's looking for a follow-up. But they managed to lose only their support.
And really smart move in the end by Rudy, trading flash for flash with Adryh. It's always going to mean way more for Giants to have that on the AD carry than for Unicorns on the jungler. Baron is being started. Rudy's going to tank it. It is fairly risky. I feel like it's wise backing away from it. You have xPePii nearby with ult. He could pop a target super easy. Unicorns get a fight because Giants finally step out towards the mid lane. Giants want to path through their own jungle technically, where they can have their own defensive wards. And then just wait for Unicorns to actually make a move on the Baron. Because you have wave clear mid lane all day long with the Lux who can just instant ulti the wave if needed.
And second time around that we've seen Chachi leading the front when it comes to UOL's engage. Able to get a pin onto xPePii, but not enough real follow-up.
And there's one thing we got to look at in these fights. Is what can Adam do? Is he able to zone any carries or not? Because he's running at them as a Trundle through like a box from Hylissang. It's very difficult. The stun coming in from a VIktor. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because Giants had the chance to pick like a Malphite or Nautilus if they want a big frontline who can zone out an AD carry. I'm not sure Adam is able to do the same. He has to engage because Giants are stepping out and near the wall. And I wanted to see what Trundle actually can do in a fight like this because he's trying to run to targets. He gets near one or two of them, but he doesn't really get to do anything. And he has no crowd control at this point because Pillar is already down to stop Unicorn from dealing damage. Because what we saw in the last game was when you have a tank who can single out the enemy AD carry, you remove a big part of what the other team needs to kill your late game, Void Poppy, massive tank thingy, whatever it is, that can just kill everything. But if those carries can get close to Adryh and kill him, then the Trundle pick won't have that much value.
Deficio, the noodles in the armor are there. Hylissang gets bounced back to the middle lane. There's no light binding in BetongJocke. He's just not tanky enough. He gets taken down by Steelback, who's now on a killing spree. Rudy finds Adryh. Giants tried to set up a play.
They're still fighting.
And are punished for doing so. Atom is hungry. Subjugate is out. Chachi just walks away. 2 members down and the smite. UOL may risk Baron.
Second time in a row now, Giants is moving forward in the mid lane, allowing Unicorns to honestly get rewarded for playing very passive and just waiting for Giants to step too far out, then engage happens. This time I actually think it was BetongJocke who went in for a pick. Didn't get it onto Hylissang. Ends up dying. Let's see what happens here. Pepi does have ulti in. Just feel he might try and steal it.
Let's take a look. The tag is onto Baron. Atom gets stunned up, eats a death sentence, and he is killed. Pepi and GODFRED looking to steal. Keeper's verdict, it misses. Pepi's still around. The laser's late. He won't find a kill either. And in actual fact, it was Fox that picked up Baron for Unicorns.
So Unicorns gets everything without being the proactive team. Giants tried to create a pick. It missed completely. Gives up 2 kills. Remember that flash Rudy traded with Adryh before?
Yes, I remember it.
Suddenly became pretty impactful. Let's see here. So it's Giants are moving forward. They see Hylissang and they go all in for the support. And now Adryh is in the back line. I want to see who gets to him. It's just move from Hylissang. No flash for Adryh and he goes down instantly. Just a poor fight from Giants and they are losing complete control.
And the second time that we've seen Giants use their disengage tools in some way aggressively and be punished for it. If you have to protect Lux, don't use those tools to kill a support Thresh.
Yeah, even if they do kill him, is the support going down at this point?
Important? No. Hylissang gets caught by a light binding, barrel forward.
They got him now.
Will go down. Steelback dashes forward aggressively. The pin against BetongJocke against the wall. It's a trade. 1-for-1. Jungle for support. Turn their attention to Fox. He's used his cleanses. Atom's trying to zone everybody away, but Adryh is taken out. Rudy and Chachi dove him. Chachi's not done yet. He's looking for GODFRED. He's going to get taken out. Not in a little while, though, as GODFRED's going to walk away thanks to Face of the Mountain and the Locket. Unicorns get 2 kills, they crack open the Giants base.
2 team fights in a row here where Unicorns, they take down BetongJocke first. He's not that tanky at this point. And then Adryh, who still doesn't have that flash ready, that was traded by Rudy, goes down a second time. They're able to reach the carry. Giants are not able to peel for Adryh. And despite having 3 items completed, it should be able to stand there and do so much damage. He's not allowed to. He's constantly having to kite and kite and kite. And that just ruins everything for him. So Hylissang will play aggressive. He actually goes down, but it's a lot of stuff used. Again, BetongJocke using his ulti to get Hylissang down. I don't think that has any value for Giants. So now he dies in the front line. Adryh is the next target. It's just a flash forward from Chachi.
Oh,
ulti,
such great play.
And they kill him. And there was no disengage to help him out. No flash. Unicorns are punishing Giants for misusing their abilities and winning fights.
And there's just such great target selection from Unicorns of Love. Every time they get into a fight, they've been able to find Pepi or Adryh time and time again. Now that is partially because Pepi and Adryh have been maybe too far forward. And Pepi, 36 minutes in, he's got 400 CS, but all the CS in the world cannot help you win.
To 284.
Well, it's not helping just yet. Steelback, flash and dash away. The barrel comes out again, but BetongJocke, I'm not quite sure you should be throwing that as willy-nilly as you are.
I feel like he's just kind of taunting Unicorns by throwing barrels in their face.
It seems to be the case. Atom will get melted right in front. The laser takes down Chachi before he can get the Keeper's verdict out. Top for top. Death sentence onto BetongJocke. The box comes out. Hilly playing very aggressive, saying 1 on 4. Come at me, bro. Steelback goes forward. Remember, he has no flash. He's hammering away on BetongJocke. The Lantern is available over the wall. Not anymore as Hylissang gets taken out. And maybe UOL biting off a little more than they could chew.
In the end, 2 for 1. Giants finally win a team fight. Adryh wasn't able to pick up any of the kills. He stayed alive though. Had to use both summoners. So again, we're gonna keep track on his positioning in fights and how much he can do without that flash ready. Still really gotta question BetongJocke's Gragas.
Yep.
Definitely not been a fan of the way he's playing team fights.
Not had the impact he wanted to.
So at this point here, Hylissang is landing some very good hooks in this game. Like he's been getting on Adryh, he's been getting on the right targets in front to just kind of zone them out, but now they're all collapsing onto Adam, setting up xPePii for a very good laser. At this point, you can just disengage with the unicorns. You don't want to risk more. Unless actually they're saying we want to try and get that flash down again. It's used here from Adryh because Hylissang,
another hook,
is playing well. Just go down. Let's see what happens here down the corner because Rudy is almost dying.
He is almost dying. Repels up as Dragon number 2 picked up by Giants. He will get stunned by the concussive blows passive of GODFRED. And Dragon number 2 means that both Giants and UOL have that damage over time on turrets. If Giants can ever get to another turret, they should be able to in this mid lane. Although Fox is nearby, and the tower will drop to the Biochem barrage.
Giants open up the mid lane. They've tried a few times. Every time they step forward in this mid lane, they died. So far, except for this one. Unicorns are still in a situation where they are leading. They have the map control. They have Baron control when it respawns in 2 minutes.
They need the vision to make that safer, though.
We are still getting further and further towards this insane
the void puppy tank.
The void puppy tank, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, I'm using your words here.
I like it though. I like it.
It's actually a good title.
He's gonna have more than Mortius soon. That's gonna be a big boost for him. Suddenly he won't get one shot by VIktor. Gonna be tough for Rudy to take him out as well.
But we see how much burst Steelback got. Piercing lights in an auto a second ago. Ooh,
but that's the thing, right? Steelback should never, ever, ever get to hit Adryh.
Theoretically.
Yeah, if he ever gets there and he doesn't die for it, something has already gone wrong in the fight. And when you have Gragas, when you have Braum, even the zone from a Lux, that should be enough to stop Steelback from ever moving close. Otherwise, again, we have to look at, could a Malphite pick or Nautilus pick been better for Giants to single out Steelback every single fight, or single out the VIktor every fight, and stop them from ever dealing damage, because then it becomes Adryh versus Chachi and Rudy, and that's a fight Adryh's gonna win in the late game.
Yeah.
100%. That's what worked for Taps in the last game. There was not enough damage you could dive in, because there was a big tank to stop a lot of that damage by diving the backline of the enemy team.
So Deficio, it's Giants that are trying to push out this middle lane. Deal with those super minions by not letting them get close. Baron's up in 35, and some mixed vision around. Giants trying this maneuver. Atom's already used the subjugate. Gravity Field will pull him backwards. He's the target. BetongJocke used it again to look for the support, so they will get themselves 1 kill. Baron's up in 20 seconds, and Rudy's been chunked very, very low. This might be Giants' opportunity if they've got the timer.
And suddenly Giants are able to win fights.
Because we're 40 minutes in.
They got 2 kills in the other one. Now they get 1 kill for 0. They stop Unicorns from setting up for this Baron that is now spawning. Clear out these pink wards. Suddenly Giants are able to get river control because we've gone so far into the game and Unicorns have been so passive and waiting for honestly Giants to make plays. They don't even care about your pink ward. They're just going straight for Baron.
Baron is going to get melted so quickly. Vizicsacsi has booted away. The wings are flapping and he's flying for days. Steelback has eaten some damage there from xPePii as the stun pins Atom against the wall. Steelback is going to dash away from the light binding, but it is in fact Vizicsacsi that goes down. Steelback forced to dash over the wall, and Giants, they've been interrupted on Baron. Hylissang has respawned, and in a 4v5, UOL stop the Baron at the cost of Chachi's life.
Yeah, sacrifice Chachi, has teleport ready in 45 seconds, but Unicorns are not in a position to start a Baron. Trying to out a few wards. Inib has respawned. There are some super minions at the Nexus, but Giants don't want to send everyone back to stop the minions from pushing because they want to be around the Baron. They don't want to risk Unicorns now taking that Baron and using it to close out the game. The Giants, they know they are in prime position to win this game. Despite still being down in gold, you have gotten your items. xPePii is almost on full items. He's so far ahead in farm.
Look at death timers. 15 seconds for Chachi, 53 seconds for Rudy. Flash away from GODFRED. He's still got his Glacial Fissure available. Baron has been started. Teleport's coming out from Atom. He'll join the fight. Fox forced to use the cleanse and a defensive barrel. Adryh's running low on mana. Keep your eyes on that. Baron is still hammering away on the giant members. Teleport's available for Chachi. He's come in. He's running. He's got Adryh against the wall. Found him as Steelback takes him out. And all of a sudden, UOL are now back on the Baron. xPePii is stressed but smiling.
Giants were in a very, very good spot. They, first of all, didn't even have to start the Baron. They could just stay around it and make sure Unicorns couldn't put up any wards. BetongJocke went in with Body Slam, then delayed his ulti so he didn't kill the VIktor. See what happens top now. xPePii's near wall.
Oh, GODFRED eats the death sentence. Fox is fighting behind the turret. The inhibitor's been killed by Steelback. So all of the time has worked in favor of UOL. And Chachi is pinned against the wall. Steelback, he's just pushing for a Nexus turret. Needs to be a little bit careful. Does not have flash. He's gone forward. Unbreakable. Doesn't even matter. Steelback shuts him down. He's going to chow a barrel for his problems. The steel cone, the ice cone comes up and a death sentence from Hilly. That's a double kill for Steelback. They've got minions pouring in. 59 seconds before BetongJocke is back up. They've broken open the base and it's just UOL craziness again.
I feel like we've seen this before from the Unicorns of Love, these games here where we're almost saying the other team now have the chance to win. And then Unicorns, they're forcing a mistake or they get a great engage, this time from Chachi. But again, this all goes back to Giants starting a Baron. BetongJocke, he jumped out with Body Slam. He didn't knock back the VIktor. He's delayed his ulti. And suddenly, Unicorns had forced him off the Baron. Chachi could TP in. Adryh had no flash. He went down. And yes, it all looks fancy when he's doing this. But he's been the target in every fight. So this is after the engage has failed for Giants. And this is just flash forward from Chachi. Adryh has nothing he can do here. He dies. The ulti was once again used to actually disengage from this Poppy. I hate to say it. I hate to point out, mistakes from just one player. But so many fights have been made very difficult for Giants to win because of BetongJocke's use of his ulti.
And alternatively, so much credit has to be given to Chachi for finding an influential target. It feels every single time. We've seen
this is so good. But yeah, I'm right next to you. I can get you on many flashes.
Well, Fox gets away with his life. 2 inhibitors down, a Nexus turret down. Steelback, the man of the feature, will get himself another kill with the help of Rudy. Now all of a sudden, Giants are falling to pieces. A stun in the gravity field. BetongJocke, he's used his barrel already. Atom's in the back line. He's not going to survive for long. It's a double back for Steelback. A double kill for Steelback. And Adryh will go down as the triple back for Steel kill. They're pushing in with the super minions. There's only one Nexus turret remaining. A Unicorns of Love, it was a slugfest. It took 45 minutes, but at 11:05, Steelback is leading the way as Unicorns of Love go 8-3 in the Spring Split.
And Giants are gonna go back and look at this game, and they're gonna find so many moments where they're like, right here, we are in a good position. We just created a pick, wait a little bit with the Baron, we can get a guy to respawn, Adam comes in with teleport, then we can maybe bait it, 4v5, and so on and so on. But every time they had to make that crucial call, they failed it. Unicorns didn't, and that's why they win the game.
Stern faces for the Unicorns. It maybe should not have taken 45 minutes, it maybe should not have gone the way it did. Most damage dealt to champions in the game, just by a hair, was Steelback over xPePii on an AD carry. He went 11:05.
Great game.
Great positioning. But again, he's enabled because Chachi and Hilly felt like they were in the right place at the right time when the fights were happening.
And because Giants drafted a Trundle who can't do much against the Lucian because of the mobility Lucian has, or also the cooldown reduction build. Like, Trundle never really is a threat. And BetongJocke always had used his ulti in the start of the fight on something that wasn't really worth it. So there was never anything really to threaten Steelback. He could just walk straight up, deal the damage he needed to, in every single fight. And it's not like Unicorns had a bad late game comp by any means. Like, they had a strong late game as well, which is why they can still win these fights. It's not like it's impossible at some point. Whenever they catch out Giants, we just saw how risky it was.
Yeah.
By being so passive in the mid game, we got to a point where Giants could actually win the game despite being behind for so long.
Yeah, and it worked out in favor of UOL in the end, punishing some of those mistakes for Giants. To take a closer look at the Unicorns win, we're going to head to the analysis.